and to get your questions answered. So today we're going to be going over building smarter job forms. We'll cover what job forms are, how to use them, and we'll show off some of the new advanced features we've been adding recently. If you do have a question as we go, just write it down or keep it with you, and we'll have a Q&A session after the presentation. So without further ado, we'll dive right into it. All right. So we are here in Solving Services. We're in our snow removal account. I thought that being middle of January, we'd have, snow removal would be applicable, but it looks like it's not quite snowing outside, but maybe by the time this demo's over, we'll have some snow. So job forms can be found under configuration. So right at the bottom of the menu, you'll see configuration, job forms. This page is accessible by admins and account administrators. So if you don't see the configuration menu, you're probably just missing a permission there. Job forms are custom forms that we use to gather information about jobs being completed. So whenever somebody completes a job through Solving Services, they'll fill out the form of your choice. This page will show all of the job forms available on your account with some high-level information just about how many images are required, how many questions are in the form, and who's able to access that form. These forms can be searched, or you can view them as a table or as cards. To create a new form, you just click Add, and you'll be presented with this form template selection. So these form templates are pre-built, ready-to-use job forms that cover generic processes across a lot of different industries. So, for example, we've got, who's here? There we go. We've got landscape, we've got construction, snow removal, pest control, and a lot of other industries that you can filter these forms by. So if I select snow removal, we can see we've got some pre-built form templates for salting, sidewalks, and plowing. But for the sake of this demonstration, we're just going to start fresh with a blank template. So once you've chosen your template, you can just click it, and it will open up the job form builder. So the job form builder is split into two columns. On the left, you have your configuration, your settings as you build the form. And then on the right, you've got the live preview. So on the right-hand side, we can see exactly what our employees will see when they fill out this job form. And you can see as we start to enter information on the left-hand side, you'll see it start to update in real time on the right side. So the form name is just the title that you can use to identify the form out of a list. The description is going to be shown on the job form itself, and you can put a description of the form here. You can put kind of instructions to your employees who are filling out the form. You can add anything you want here. So we can say, report the details of your snow removal visit. It does support Markdown or rich text editing, so you can put anything here that you want to have show up on the job form while your employees complete it. Right below the description, we have our image settings. So this is how many before and after images are required to submit the form. You can turn these off by just sliding everything down to 0, so your form doesn't require any images, or you can set them up to require and allow 5. So just for this example, we're going to say we'll require 1 before image and require 1 after image, but they can upload up to 4 if they have them. Below that, we can see our questions. So right now, since this was a blank template, it doesn't have any questions. So we'll go ahead and start to add questions for our first snow removal form. When you click this, it'll show you all of the available question types. We've got basic questions like short answer and numbers and yes or no questions. Contact information, where you can gather things like address or email, date and time, and then more advanced questions down at the bottom. So we'll start with a time question, and we'll just say arrival time. So it might be nice to know what time your employees arrived on the job site. Below that, we'll add, we'll go with a multiple choice question, and we'll ask about the snow condition. And under these multiple choice questions, you can outline as many options as you want. So the snow might be dry, might be icy, might be packed, or something else. You can add and remove options from these questions. And again, on the right-hand side, you can see these questions showing up, how they will show up to your employees when they fill out the form. Now, these questions can get as simple or complex as you want them to be. So you can ask a simple, number question, like how many bags of salt did you use? Or you can get more complex and set up catalogs, parts lists, and service lists full of the types of salt that your employees might use. For those, you can use one of these advanced catalog item questions. You can say what salt was used. We can select our salt catalog. And now when an employee fills out this form, they can select from the specific types or bags of salt that we use. Below that, let's see, we'll add one more for equipment. We'll ask them what equipment was used. And we'll choose our snow blowers list, our catalog. And then finally, I think it's always a good idea to have a notes field. So we'll just put in a paragraph answer. We'll name it notes. Now this is our basic form editor. So we've added some questions, all very simple. If you want to unlock more advanced features for each of these questions, we have this little advanced toggle here. And when you turn this on, you'll see some extra buttons appear. Each of these questions can now have a description, and we can sort our form into sections. So if we want to, we can add a description to our notes, and we can say something like, let's see, were there any issues or hazards, damage, things like that. And we can sort our questions into sections. So if we wanted to, we could create a new section. We'll call it arrival, and I'll push it up to the top with our little sorting arrows. Boop, boop. And we'll move a couple of questions into our arrival section. So like arrival time, we'll move to our arrival section, and we'll say snow condition, we'll move there as well. So now we've kind of sorted some of these questions into a section called arrival. And on the form, we can see here's our section header, arrival, with the questions underneath it, arrival time and snow condition. These sections can be collapsed and expanded while the employees are filling out the form just to help them, especially with really long forms. The sections can be very helpful to collapse information that you're already done with. Once you're happy with the form, you just click Create Form in the bottom right, and that will save it. So this is our job form overview page. This just kind of gives you a high-level look at the form that you just created. We have our details here with the title and the description, and a couple of others to look at. When you click on Edit, you can see the name, the description, and there's this extra setting called Show Number Labels. When we turn that on, you can see labels next to the section headers and the questions in your form. This just kind of helps keep things clean. If you've got really large forms, you can reference specific questions when talking to people, or you can hide them if you don't want to see them there. Under the Access section, this will show you who is able to use this job form. Right now, and by default, all job forms are set to everyone. You can change that by clicking on Change and selecting a different option from this list. So if you don't want everyone to use it, maybe you just have a specific list of people you'd like to use this form. You can set it to specific user groups, and you can select those groups from your list. So if I want only crews 1 and 2 to be able to use this form, I can do that. When I hit Save, now only my snow crew 1 and 2 can see and use this form. Anybody in other crews won't be able to access this job form. The last option is only admins and account administrators. So when it's set to this, only people with these permissions are able to see the form from the list and pick it out. But for now, we'll keep this at everyone, so everyone can use the snow removal form. In the top right, you'll see automation rules. Now, these are really cool. They're powerful automation tools for notifications and tagging based on answers to questions. So if I want to add a rule, we can come in here, and it's pretty straightforward. We can choose a trigger. So this is what's going to make the rule happen. So it might be, you might want to get a notification if the form is submitted, or maybe based on a specific answer to one of these questions. So if I choose snow condition, maybe I want to get notified if the snow is icy. I could say if question 2 snow condition is equal to icy, we'll notify a user, and we can choose me from the list. We can save that. So now, if anybody uses this form and they answer question 2 snow condition with the value icy, I'll get a notification about that, and then I can take additional action or follow up. You can also create automation rules to notify all the administrators in the account, specific people, or automatically tag a job with a specific tag. Below that, you can see these are the questions that we created. You can see kind of a preview of your form. And on this side, we can see all of the jobs and job requests that have used this form. Right now, these sections are empty because we just made it. But let's go and look at what using this form will look like. So over here on my job requests page, I'll create a new job request. We'll just keep it simple. We'll call it snow removal. I'll choose a location about Sunny Springs Park. And under job form, we can select the snow removal form that we just made. We can assign users or groups or add it to the schedule or add images if we want to. But for now, I'll just keep it simple with these details. All right, so now we have a job request. At Sunny Springs Park, we want to use our snow removal job form. So any of your employees that you've assigned or can see this can come into this job request, and they can click complete. And here we can see the form that we just created. Here's our description with our required before and after images and all of our questions. So I'm just going to throw a couple of images in here. My before and after work on some snow. And we'll say I arrived, what time is it now? We'll say I arrived at noon. Snow condition is icy. And now here we can see these catalog questions. These are those advanced questions that reference some of the catalogs we have in our account. So if I open this, we can see all of the different types of salt that I have in my catalog. So I will go ahead and just choose one of these. And that's added it to my list. And I can say I used 3 bags of this Morton Safe Tea Salt. Under what equipment was used, we can select one of our snow blowers. And again, I can say I used that for 2 hours. And then under notes, we could say cause damage to a sidewalk. All right, so we filled out our form, we filled out all of the required questions, and we'll submit the job. At this point, this will upload all of those images and save the job. So now, if we go and we view the job that we just completed, we can see the original request here at the top, and we can see the job information that we've just filled out with our before images, our after images, and these answers to form questions. So we can see we arrived at noon, the snow condition was icy, we used this salt and this blower, and we can see the notes that we put in as well. Now also, it looks like I've gotten 2 notifications from that. One was because the job request I made was completed, and the other one was that automation rule that we just set up, saying, hey, somebody answered this question with the word icy, so it's going to notify me about that. So we can see on this page which job form was used to complete this job request. And we can see that it says version 1 right after that. So if I click on this, it's going to take me back to the job form overview page. And we can see down here that we're on version 1 of this form. Now our job forms are versions. That means when you make changes like adding questions or removing questions, it's going to create a new version. So if you come in and you say, you know, I don't care about the snow condition anymore, and you want to just delete a question, you can do that, and you can create that version. So now anybody using that form won't be asked that question anymore. But Any jobs that used that form in the past will still have that question answered. So if we go and we look at our job history for that job that was just completed, that question is still there, right? So that data is never lost because we were on version 1 of our snow removal form. So if you ever come to one of your jobs and you say, hey, where's that question I added? Why didn't they answer that question? You can check in here and see what that version looked like by coming to the job form overview page, opening up your history, and seeing the different versions you have. So right now we're on version 2. And if you say, oh, I want to see what version 1 looked like, you can click that and see a preview of exactly what version 1 looked like. And maybe the version was different when your employee filled out the form. All right. Finally, we have a couple of other options. You can delete a job form by clicking on this. This won't delete any jobs that were completed using this form, but it'll keep this form from showing up in any lists or being able to be used by any job requests. And you can also duplicate the job form in case you want to make one that's the same or similar, and just use this as a starting off point. All right. I think that just about covers it as far as job forms goes. Let me double check my notes. Okay, at this point, does anybody have any questions? Anything that's come up or anything they'd like clarified? Yeah, Kelly.
So if I create a job form and then I realize I have to go edit it and I make a version 2, do I then have to reassign that job form out to everyone I assigned version 1 to?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yep. So if you have created a bunch of job requests, and they're all attached to, our snow removal form, for example, if you create a new version on that form, all of those job requests are automatically going to use the latest version. Whenever somebody completes a job, they'll always be on the latest version of your job form. So you don't need to go through and update anything. All you have to do is create that new version and everything attached to it will update.
Perfect. Okay.
Did I see another hand?
I think Alfredo had a question.
Maybe just a misclick. Anybody else? Any other questions about job forms or the advanced job form features?
Justin, I just had a comment. When you were reviewing the advanced job forms, one of the items that I think could be applicable to Golden Landscaping, it would be the section setting within advanced job forms where you can create additional settings, and specifically for Golden Install. So I'm wondering if it would be beneficial for the team members who are on with Golden to see why you created or why we decided to create these different sections. Because I think it's really applicable for construction, because there are phases in a project. So maybe if you could chat or speak a little bit to that feature set, that might be helpful.
Sure, yeah. Let me pull this back up. So we created one section on our form, and right now it's pretty empty. It looks like we have one question in our arrival section. But let's create another section and just put the other questions into it. Maybe we'll say, we'll title it equipment, and I'll move it up here. Okay, and we'll put a couple of questions into them. So again, you can use this move button to move your questions into sections. So I'll move in what salt was used and what equipment was used. So I'll move those into the equipment section. We'll create a new version, and now those questions are under these sections. So this is kind of a short form, but if you were to have a really long form, like Brett was saying, with multiple phases or a lot of questions to answer as you go, it's helpful to sort things into these sections so that when you're done filling out a section, you can just collapse it. And then at the end, it's easier to sort through your form or go back and change an answer to a question if you need to, because you can just sort through and collapse these sections. When you're viewing the job as well, a job that's been completed, you can see and collapse these sections. So again, this was version 1 when we had one section. So I'll collapse that. And now we've hidden those questions in that section. So if you get a form, that's, I don't know, several dozen questions long, it would definitely be helpful to sort those questions or those phases into sections, just to help your employees who are filling out the form and help yourself later when you're looking through these to find an answer that you're looking for. Brett, does that clarify your question?
Yeah, it does. Another thing that I think is helpful for people to understand. So if you are working any project that is multi-stepped, like we just talked about, there's a question type that you can add that is images. So let's say that you're doing a new irrigation installation and you're doing the whole project from start to finish. You could have sections of that project as this form. So you could put in, linear lines, you could put in valves, you could put in stop and waste as different sections, and then you could ask a question type that requires images for each of those steps. So if you in the office want to see, okay, we did new construction on one of our new projects, you could ask for questions of, what does the backflow preventer look like? Take a picture of that, and then you can move on and say, did you dig the trenches for the lines? Take pictures of the trenches, take pictures of the lines installed, take pictures of the different valve boxes. You can get very thorough with these forms. So just know that the capability is there. So whatever data you want to collect from your field crews, you can really use this new advanced form builder to work with your process. So whether you work for Golden or another client, Salem City, or others who are on this call, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to our team at Solving Services. You can reach out to Justin. You can reach out to Casey Tebbs or myself, and we can walk you through how to build a custom form that aligns with your internal process, because we built this for you to match your business model, not to force your business model into our method of operation. So if you do have questions, please reach out to us, use us as a resource, because we're here to help you with any of these new features that are coming out.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you're not limited just to the before and after photos in these sections. So these are just kind of pre-built sections for your form for before and after images, but you can add as many image questions as you want with instructions for what to take pictures of or how many they have to upload. Okay. Any other questions, comments, clarifications? All right. Well, we'll keep this one short and sweet. Appreciate everybody for joining. Like Brett said, if you have any questions or would like some help setting up job forms in your account, please feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we'll help you out.
Thank you.
All right.
Great.
Thank you so much, Justin.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. See ya.